of putting it, the novel coronavirus has put 45's re-election campaign on what they call life support. In late February, America's unemployment rate was at half a century low. Consumer confidence was high, and betting markets were bullish on 45's odds of a second term. 4 months and 123,000 deaths later, times have changed. Before COVID-19 made its presence in the U.S. felt, Joe Biden led the squatter by roughly 5 points in national polls today, with tens of millions of people unemployed and Houston's ICUs running out of capacity. Joe Biden leads 45 by more than 10 points. Like other leaders in afflicted countries, 45 enjoyed a brief polling boost at the onset of the pandemic, but this Klan rally around the flag effect started dissipating in early April. The White House ostensibly attributed its declining numbers to the economic consequences of a lockdown rather than the public health catastrophe it had failed to prevent. Thus, the administration pressured states to expedite reopening, while 45 trumpeted an unproven anti-malarial drug as a COVID-19 elixir. In response to these actions, many accused the squatter of crassly prioritizing his re-election above Americans' health and safety, which is technically what the intent was all along. This was a plausible critique at the time, but as an assessment of 45's handling of the pandemic in recent days, it is actually too generous. At this point, it is quite clear that 45's interest in keeping his job and the American public's interest in minimizing the spread of the coronavirus are perfectly aligned. Formal restrictions on economic activity have been relaxed throughout most of the country. The force that's holding down the economy and the squatter's poll numbers is not lockdown orders, it's the uncontrolled spread of a deadly virus. The more 45 does to curb COVID-19, the better his odds of getting back into contention. Recent polling from the Democratic Aligned Global Strategy Group indicates that the voting public is paying close attention to the coronavirus case count. For once, objective facts about pressing policy challenge are politically salient. 45 can become a more popular squatter by doing a better job, which he never will. This is one as interesting as it shows that the public is paying attention to what's going on with the number of cases in their state and in the country. Voters are fairly accurate in this description for what's going on in their state and in the country. But for 45, some things are more important than winning an election, and spreading the number of coronavirus is basically one of them. One of the most effective and least economically compromising ways to contain the pandemic is to encourage universal mask wearing in public indoor spaces, which 45 never does. Instead, 45 has basically derided masks as both ineffective and anti-conservative, which is to say he has effectively discouraged his supporters from wearing the masks also, even as poll after poll shows upwards of 70% of Americans support mask wearing in public. Surveys also show that the American public overwhelmingly supports widespread coronavirus testing, and yet 45 has said that he told his people to slow down the testing because it was uncovering too many cases. After administration officials tried to pass this off as a joke, 45 clarified that he was entirely serious because he's a fucking moron. The White House then confirmed 45's sincerity by cutting off federal funding to the 13 COVID-19 testing sites, including 7 of them being in Texas, where a massive virus outbreak is currently sweeping the state. Marginally, reducing testing capacity will make it harder for states and cities to respond to basically a nascent outbreaks by tightening social distancing protocols and preparing hospital systems for the higher ICU demand. But it won't do much to disguise the ongoing existence of a public health crisis. Most egregiously, 45 has been traveling to coronavirus hotspots across the country and basically trying to orchestrate super spreader events. On Tuesday, the squatter went to Arizona, where new cases of coronavirus have been growing at a clip of 3,000 cases a day, and in a convened large indoor rally, a Klan rally basically, before a mostly unmasked crowd of shouting fans. Actively worsening the public health crisis in the must-win swing state is an odd thing to do if your goal is to win re-election in November. By contrast, if 45's top priority is to help the novel coronavirus be fruitful and multiply, then this Phoenix trip makes perfect sense. Of course, it is unlikely that 45 is consciously sacrificing his re-election to the higher good of maximizing U.S. COVID-19 deaths. The more probable explanation for his conduct is that the man is simply a delusional, spiteful sociopath. He craves the attention and affirmation he experiences at his Klan rallies, and it is different to the tongue-tied there, epidemiological consequences of satisfying this appetite. He would like to suppress coronavirus testing because he wants the numbers he sees when watching cable news to be less threatening to his self-esteem than they are at the present time. His critics are pro-mask, so he is against them. But whatever 45's subjective reasoning is, it remains the case that his approach to the pandemic is now objectively pro-coronavirus. The U.S. squatter is seeking re-election on an anti-mask, anti-testing, pro-super spreader event platform. Thankfully, at least for now, this does not appear to be a winning strategy, and it probably won't.